we will be discussing Eli Lilly, talking about them becoming a $1 trillion healthcare pharma company, first in history so far, and their recent shopping spree that they have been on in the last 6 months, having up to 25 billion in spent so far, which is quite a significant
Yeah.
sum. People have been joking on the various social medias that they've been gobbling up anything that they can find under the sun, more or
Yeah.
less, heading into new indications which might not have been as much of a focus
Mm,
for them previously. So
mhm,
then we mentioned triceptide, I believe it is called.
mhm.
You, Ryan, had a question regarding this and other GLP ones.
Well, yeah, when it comes to the standard treatments, and especially when we saw the craze of people hopping on to those treatments, how easy would it be for them to pivot
Yeah,
if for example, Johnson & Johnson comes with something new? But
Mhm.
yeah,
it's quite easy. There's not
Yeah.
much of a change that is involved, especially see, if they're already used. So one of the issues might be if they're on an oral at the moment, they might not want to switch to injectable. But
Mhm.
other than that, if they're switching from one to the other, it's not that much of
Yeah.
a difference.
I mean, the other focus there as well is muscle tone and muscle tone maintenance, because a lot of these drugs will waste your muscles as well as your fat. So if you're coming in with a new pill that's going to maintain muscle tone but burn your fat, that would maybe be a shift. But I do think people, they like a brand, they like to be on what they know. So I think it would require a shift in either how easy it is to take, or it's going to give them a benefit. Yeah.
Yeah,
or
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
And then you
can
also see, hmm, go ahead.
or can it be a bonus from your boss?
Yeah.
Right. I've also seen that some companies started offering this as a bonus for on top of the salary. So it just
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
it's
You
also
might
start
take, yeah, you
pitching
might take that a
something.
bit
Well,
offensively, right?
mm,
Here's your
mm,
bonus, a
mm.
weight loss pill.
I don't know if
maybe.
they're okay with it. I mean, if they want to. I believe that what we don't see in Europe is
Yeah.
if you let's look at the statistics of the amount of people that are overweight slash obese in the US, I think it's hard for us in Europe to realize how big of a problem it is over there.
Yeah.
So for them, it
Hmm.
might be more normal to try and just look out for the health because
Yeah.
it has a big impact on the
Yeah.
employer if they have to look into, okay, how many sick days do we have per year?
Hmm.
If you look at the other costs, it starts to ramp up quite rapidly. So
Yeah.
for them, it's probably saving money to have
Yeah.
someone on this. And yeah, especially with the more recent ones where they don't see the same loss of fat-free mass, aka muscle. So that would be amazing. And yeah,
Yeah.
it is hailed as the next generation, which will greatly improve and save fat-free
Hmm.
mass, because that's one of the issues that a lot of people had with the previous generation, not to single out any one treatment
Hmm.
or medicine in particular, or mentioning any names.
Hmm.
Some have had issues with retaining fat-free mass, although I do believe personally it is because people treat this as a treatment itself, whereas it should also be they are engaging in physical activity
Yeah.
and trying to preserve the fat-free mass themselves. Because
Yeah.
even if someone is embarking on this journey themselves without any treatment, if they exercise and go to the gym regularly
Hmm.
and engage in various forms of strength training, they will preserve a lot more of their fat-free mass versus
Yeah.
if they don't do this and just cut down the calories. So it's kind of the
Yeah.
same thing. So I think it gets a bad rap
Hmm.
because people want to take the easy way out in a way. In my
Yeah.
perspective, maybe they just want to change their behavior, but yeah, it's something to bear in mind.
Well, I think you're hitting on something there, because they are taking a drug without changing a habit, right? So if they have a habit of an activity, then the drug will lose the weight, but it won't change the habit. I think the other factor as well is that if you are obese and you lose weight through these drugs, you're literally not moving that mass through space anymore. and a lot of your muscle tone and muscle mass will have been built on carrying yourself, which you're no longer having to do. So I think there's elements of that there too.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, for sure. That's why you see some weightlifters being a lot heavier than maybe they would be if they were not engaging in that particular sport. But yeah, it's very interesting and exciting to see if we'll be able to achieve fat loss with minimum amount of loss in fat-free mass, for sure.
But I think I suppose the exciting thing for us and for this video is that these drugs are what have allowed Eli Lilly to splash it out on the market with their new acquisitions. So it's really, it's this money, this weight loss money that is providing them this opportunity to start this spending spree, which is quite unprecedented.
Yeah, so it would appear. I mean, it seems like they're going into a lot of different directions. I'm not as well read up on them from previously, but historically they were mostly doing insulin and other forms of weight loss drugs or weight management. But then out of this, they became the giant that they are today. And now they are spending a lot of CNS. I've seen a lot of CNS assets that they added, even cell therapies. They added for pain. I believe they added something for pain as well, for pain management, as well as PTSD and depression. So they have a lot of different.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's actually something you said there, which is kind of important, which is that I think everyone is struggling to keep up with what they're doing because there's been such a rapid shift. It's almost impossible. Even when I'm reading online and I'm reading articles from like Fierce Biotech and so on, they are struggling to keep up and struggling to put a rationale necessarily to what Eli Lilly want to do. I mean, 10 acquisitions in half a year is massive.
Yeah, that's not even talking about all the licensing deals that they have done. They've done a massive amount of licensing deals. And I know in oncology, they added some ADC platforms, several ADC assets. They're going in a lot of different directions. And I believe partially because they have to justify their current valuation that they have. Because if you look at their revenue compared to other companies' revenue, they're not quite there yet. But people are hopeful for the future. So I believe this is a tactic for them to try and stay ahead with their valuation and try to utilize their balance sheets and be quite offensive. Because some people might get comfortable if we're already number one, but they know that if they don't try and maintain this, then they will likely fall behind.
Do you think this also affects the type of deals that they strike? Like, as you notice, most of these are quite mature, phase 2, phase 3, and they throw a lot of money to these cases as well. A lot of bigger percentage is typically the upfronts, like we've seen with Bakley, 2.8 billion, and then 1 billion upfront. I mean, we're definitely seeing that they are trying to get to the market as fast as possible. And they are capable of throwing the cash at it.
Yeah, they have a lot of preclinical assets and preclinical deals that I have done as well. Although I do believe that they are mostly focusing on licensing for the earlier stage. But yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of companies want to have more mature assets, de-risked, since they have the cash already, they can afford to spend it. So yeah, it makes sense for them.
I think what you're hitting on there, Ryan, as well, is that they're buying at quite a mature level, but it's very spread across indications and modalities.
It's true.
So to me, what it looks like is a company that are trying to jump ahead on new indications and new modalities, not just like, to me, from my understanding, often companies are buying other companies when they want to fill a hole in their pipeline, or there's a patent pressure, or there is other stresses. They've got a competitor with something. What Lilly are doing doesn't look like that to me. because
Yeah, it
it
can, like, another reason it could also be like defensively in other cases. So in
Yeah.
case let's say it would have been a weight loss drug that is superior to tirzepatide, then you will often see other companies acquiring them
Yeah.
in order to keep
Yeah.
their position for that
Yeah.
indication.
Yeah.
But in this case, they're going more offensively with it, which is
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
And we're seeing a lot of new territories, I would say, for them.
Yeah,
Things that they're not typically associated with, like psychedelics, like antibiotic resistance, a lot of infectious diseases, vaccines, and I don't know. From my perspective, it looks like a company that they're looking for the next weight loss drug in terms of future proofing against where the big problems are going to be in the future. So new oncology platforms, antibiotic resistance, the wave of psychedelic drugs entering the market as actual healthcare rather than illicit drugs. I think they are trying to put their stakes out for the next. Yeah.
To me, it seems that they're trying to disrupt. As you saw with basically they also, which is the main need that they're going to attack is the
I would say
treatment.
I would preface this and say it's more they are trying to avoid being disrupted, since it's already in development by the other companies, but they see it has potential. So they are rather trying to stay ahead and not be disrupted, and not being as defensive as other big pharma might be. And they don't appear to be shy going for new indication, no modalities. That's one of the things. They appear quite brave in their partnering and in the partnering strategy.
I think they feel they can afford to lose a little bit at quite a mature level, which is quite unusual for a pharma company. That you don't usually see this kind of hedging and late stage assets.
I do think Pfizer also has the same risk taking when it comes to that. We've also seen major cutouts from them lately.
Yeah,
I have to look up which ones exactly, but I don't think it's uncommon to see that.
Well, if you look at the velocity of their deal making, it is quite unprecedented. Usually, they don't have this high velocity when it comes to the deal making. So that's one of the things that makes this a little bit more unique.
Yeah, I mean, for that, I think exactly. I mean, I totally agree with you, Ryan. It's not uncommon for big pharma to go out into a new venture or hedge on a few new ventures. But I think what we're seeing right now is quite a widespread, rapidly across a whole range of new areas, indications, modalities. And I think that it is a company trying to set themselves up for where they see the biggest new markets opening in the future and trying to get those mature assets under their table. And I think the other factor as well is when we were talking last week about chai and these AI deals and subscriptions that they've got. The more you can get onto your books now, the more you can feed into these models that are going to be your model for your company. So maybe there's an element of that there too.
Yeah, I mean, even for AI, they did say in a previous interview, the CEO, Rick Scott, I can't remember his name at the moment. I believe it's Rick something. He was on the Stripe podcast, and he mentioned they spend as much as on R&D as Germany, the state, does. And he also mentioned they are one of the companies investing most in AI. So that's another thing. They're investing heavily. I don't know the percentage of their spend on R&D at the moment, but I would imagine it's quite high if you include their BD budget that they have.
Yeah. And those guys have been working overtime, surely.
Absolutely. I know.
They did close their office in the US though for a couple of days. I got a lot of messages.
Summertime. Yeah, exactly. But I know a guy that did a deal with them for an ADC platform. He said they were great to deal with and apparently very quick And it seems like there might be a few individuals in the BD team that does a lot of these deals and are very, I don't know if they have incentives tied to the deal making somehow, but it seems to be pretty hot on the ball, we can say. Very eager to make, although I do think they're very selective still, and that the science has merit for a lot of these cases. They don't just, even though it seems to the outside as if they are almost spraying and praying that something sticks, but if you look at it internally, I'm sure it's a well calculated risk that they are pursuing. Typically, like a lot of pharma, they want bigger indications, and that does appear to be the case. Because if you look at the pressure market, it's pretty big. You have one asset from J&J, a nasal spray ketamine, Spravato, it's called, and it's expected to have 3 to 5 billion, I believe, in peak sales. So I believe they're looking for something similar with their acquisition of Atai. So the DMT nasal, which is starting phase 3, and several of the other assets as well, which is in latest pain, also a big one where there's a big unmet need. So I believe they just go wherever they see a big unmet need, and then they probably hire the staff for it, and then they build out the franchise of those applications as they go.
I think you've hit the nail on the head.
Almost a little bit like a startup, like a little bit more like a startup, just going on an acquisition spree. Or you would see these when a company is trying to consolidate its place and like consolidate the industry. If you look at certain other fragmented industries, you see, okay, if it is railroads or if it is pubs or if it is a lot of fragmentation in a certain industry, you usually see behaviors like this. Remember before in casino industry in Europe, you had certain players going on acquisition sprees, and it seems to be very similar now for Eli Lilly.
Well, I did see this with Boeing and Airbus 20 years ago. I was looking at M&A deals, and those were quite relevant. They also wanted to take on the newest tech, but not similar to what we've seen with Chai Discovery now. So it seems to be similar.
So what was the outcome for these industries then? What was the long-term effect?
Well,
let's say the pub industry, there was a guy, he did a lot of deals for pubs, and he consolidated them under one brand, and then he sold them off to a PE firm in London eventually. So either they take them public, Lilly is already public, or they sell them to a strategic partner, or they just run them. But it becomes more profitable since they can usually lower the margins. It's like if you look at Walmart, when someone negotiates with Walmart, it's a pretty tough deal since they have all the clients and they get the best deals when they negotiate, because you come to them and it's a pretty tough negotiation process. And most likely it will be similar with Eli Lilly because their brand carries a lot of weight in this industry. If someone says, oh yeah, we did a deal with Eli Lilly, it's a huge deal for the company. I've seen some Swedish companies doing deals with Eli Lilly, and if they are public, their stock price usually gets a nice bump, not just from the deal, but from the name and recognition they get from doing it with Lilly versus medium-sized pharma X.
Yeah. Do you think there's maybe even a similarity with big tech? And, when you think back to the 2010s, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Facebook, buying up small startups, small companies, and subsuming them into their larger platform?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. I mean, if you just look at Facebook, okay, so you look at Facebook, then Instagram was growing. What did Zuck do? Well, he bought Instagram. He tried to buy Snapchat, then he bought WhatsApp and all the other deals that they did similar to Google, because it's like, they have all the money So then one of the best things, instead of just doing like Apple, like stock buybacks, one of the best things they can do is to try and generate more revenue, which they do via acquisition. Because you never know how much would it cost for them to try and generate this internally versus just acquiring it.
It also provides you an opportunity for market dominance as well. And I wonder if that's something we're seeing with Eli Lilly as the first $1 trillion healthcare company. Are they now actually turning into a new type of pharma company that we haven't seen before? That's something a bit more platform based, a bit more dominating.
It could be for sure. I mean, it would look like it if you look at the stock. If you look at the market cap of it, it would appear so. That's the direction that they're going for. So yeah, it's really impressive to see what they have done thus far. And it will be even more interesting to see if they can keep this up, since it's quite costly.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that this trend is going to continue for the rest of the year, or have we seen the peak? Are we going to have 20 by December, or?
Well, it remains to be seen. What do you think, Ryan?
Only they know, right? But from my experience, they seem to have closed the doors. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, so typically it comes and goes in waves. You usually see a lot after a big conference. So after Bio, you might see a lot of deal transpiring. After JP Morgan, you typically see a lot of deals transpiring. It's the same if you look at the financial markets overall. There's a funny saying, go sail in May and go away, they typically say, come back after Labor Day. There's a lot of these sayings because, well, in the financial markets, the people would historically be in the Hamptons. So then it would be a lot more difficult to get something done. And I believe now during the summer months, it's a little bit similar to that. So most likely we will see a bit of a lull and slowdown in activity. And then towards end of the year, things most likely picking back up again.
Are there any more events that might be important?
Bio Europe.
Could be.
Bio Europe, one for sure. Yeah, there's lots of different events taking place. I don't know when Bio China is, if that has been, but that would be one. I'm sure there's more events in China, but Bio Europe is one. That will be in, I believe, August, September, a little bit later this year. But yeah, more events, and following those, we'll likely see more announcements from Eli Lilly as well as other companies. Yeah, pretty exciting times to see the first. It's been some time since they hit the 1 trillion mark, but still really exciting to see overall. It's one thing that I find interesting will be if you see a lot of billionaires investing in longevity these days, and it will be interesting to see if it becomes a more, how would you say, accepted indication. Exactly. More established indication where it's okay. Well, these are the targets if you do a longevity trial, because they announced the thing the other week with for skincare, where they were able to reduce the skin age from 70 to 30 years of age. So I'm sure we'll see more of a broader consumer perspective coming to also the bigger pharma companies on a longer time horizon. Maybe they won't be as fast to adopt it, but once they see that there's a big demand for it, and there shouldn't be any stigma with them also creating these types of products versus only going for oncology, immunology, which is, of course, should be priority, but still, if they can get more funds and then make better treatments from these endeavors as well, well, that would seem like something positive.
It's kind of contradictory with what's conservative and established already. So you really have to change almost the whole engine. if you want to have an established longevity segment.
Yeah.
Well,
It
at
kind of
least
kicks
you
the
have
feet of a
to.
lot of these.
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
another add-on for sure that you do. Yeah. It
Yeah.
would be interesting to see if they can do it, because now it seems like you have a lot of different companies that are very new in the space
Yeah.
and haven't run too many trials before, haven't done too much R&D in biology before.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
No,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it would be.
gonna. Yeah, it's a very exciting time.
Yeah,
Well,
I think it would be great if it could stay within the established companies, if they would expand into these indications as well and look at different opportunities, especially when they have the huge LOE coming for various assets. Hopefully, they will be more inclined to look at different ways of generating revenue as well as helping patients. It
Yeah.
might seem vain in a way to help someone with the way their skin looks, but to the patient, it's probably worth quite a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, it's very easy to think that all treatments have to be life or death, right? But, you know, it's quality of life as well. And when there's a market there, then, you know, expand into that market. Also, a lot of these drugs quite often have been tried for one indication, doesn't work. They try a different indication, it works there. So it's not all just like, oh, we're focusing on something that's cosmetic. It's, you know, there can be a lot of good rationale for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
totally
I mean,
agree.
even with, let's say, so not weight loss, but with muscle loss coming as a person ages, natural atrophy. I mean, that will
Yeah.
likely be a big indication. I don't know what people do for that normally. Of course, strength training is great,
Yeah.
but if there could be like a Ozempic someone could take to at least preserve the
Yeah.
muscle loss they have in
Well, I actually saw an article. I
as
can't remember where I saw it now, but there was the talk of a molecule that can prevent muscle wasting as you get older, and that it might, you know, no, it might not stay something that has to happen. That, you know, in 10, 20, 50 years, that could be a very different prospect.
Yeah, I've seen similar assets being developed. So I think that could also be something that's very hot. So then it would
Yeah.
be up to the regulatory bodies to then try and facilitate this in some ways, or at least accept it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, building what you're saying as well about some things being cosmetic or whatever, you might be developing drugs for indications like AML or sorry, not AML, SMA, and other muscle wasting diseases. They might not have the efficacy in these indications, but do have efficacy in slightly more cosmetic or, you know, less extreme, less rare disease environments. So that's a way for a company to claim back some revenue rather than letting an asset go completely as well. So there's a lot of recycling that keeps these companies afloat, and it allows them to then prioritize some of the more rare disease or oncology pipelines as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's markets if someone can figure out how to go about it. But I think it could be an interesting prospect for the bigger companies as well to at least start to consider this, as we've seen other individuals, both private individuals and companies working in this space, and then especially with somewhat of a peptide craze happening,
Yeah.
at least in the US. I don't know how much in Europe, but I'm guessing it's in Europe as well, where FDA were considering approving BPC 157. And I'm not too sure there's been that many studies done on BPC 157. As far as I know, the other only studies that were done were discontinued. And then you don't always know, as it goes through somewhat of a gray market, if there could be like an approved asset for some of the potential benefits that they say BPC 157 have. It could be a clinically validated asset for this. I think that could be great for both the companies as well as the potential patients and consumers.
Yeah,
of this.
100%. Yeah, I completely agree.
But yeah, like very well done by Eli Lilly, how they have played all of this, I would say. It will be interesting to see if they can keep it up. It's
Absolutely.
quite the run they have gone on.
Yeah.
Anything to add before we wrap up, Brian?
No, from my perspective, we've touched on everything. I think, yeah, it's well done from them, but also it's interesting to see how it's going to change the company long term. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, before. Like cell therapy has been a little bit out of
Fashion.
yeah, as of late, but they went pretty deep into cell therapy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lilly.
Mm-hmm.
So what about this? They spent 2.4 billion on Orna Therapeutics earlier this year.
I think that that's them moving into in vivo CAR T, right? That's a step towards those sort of platforms. And I think that they want to have dominance in that space. So that kind of goes back to what I was saying with hedging across indications and modalities. They're not hedging on the science. The science is good. They're hedging on whether these are going to be the breakthroughs of the future. It's my belief. So then you take companies like that. You've now defined yourself in that space early on, and potentially, when these become the major cancer treatments, you're at the forefront.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it will be interesting to see if it pays off. Brian, do you have any finishing thoughts to wrap it up?
Not really. I think we touched on almost everything. I wanted to go more deeper in depth on certain deals, but
is there one in particular you wanted to? Was it Centessa? Did you want to touch on Centessa?
Mainly Atai. I found it quite interesting that they decided to go with an asset that's going to phase 3. At the moment, quite mature, 2.8 billion in upfront, 1 billion in milestones. That's quite a big gamble on something that's quite disruptive to this field. I also read into the mechanics a bit. So they're trying to restore the synaptic connectivity rather than modulate it, like the conservative antidepressants. I think that's quite interesting. And I think that's all going to put a lot of the already commercial assets at risk. So I'm just happy to see how that's going to play out. But yeah, you mentioned that some of the other MNCs are already onto this as well, so they might want to skip the line and get ahead and sell. So yeah, happy to see what who's going to be first and who's going to be better. So yeah.
Yeah, because they have different clinics, I believe, for similar types of treatments, but it's more with, I don't know if it is psychedelics or what treatments it is that they are utilizing in these clinics. But I've seen some people mentioning that they've gone to these clinics and had these types of treatments, and a lot of them appear to have received great benefits from it. So if they can do this without someone having to go to a clinic and just administering the medicine by themselves, obviously that would be fantastic, and hopefully with less drawdowns.
I mean, from what I saw from that company, Ryan, as well, it seems to be that the therapeutic window is quite a short amount of time, which typically we think about it the other way around. But for these kind of drugs that are potentially psychoactive, if you treat someone for a drug that takes 4, 5, 6 hours to go through the system and exert its change, you have to monitor that person on that drug. But I think the asset you've been talking about is about 90 minutes, an hour.
Yeah, it was quite a short amount of time, and like you said, it's 5-MeO DMT, so seems active, in my opinion.
Yeah, so that's a huge cost saving as well. You can have them come into your clinic for an hour, treat them, go. You don't have to monitor them for a day, etc. So yeah, all these aspects add up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like if you have some immunology or cancer treatment, they only have to come in once per month instead of every week, it's
Mhm.
obviously a huge benefit to the patient. So yeah,
Absolutely.
very exciting to see how it all plays out for Lilly.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's stop there.
Perfect.
Okay, we can say goodbye, but yeah, whatever.